Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Silver Tears Tarot, and welcome to a quick soulmate snapshot. I got a note. I was particularly drawn to one viewer's question, and this person said something that others were kind of also putting into words. So, why does it seem like all of a sudden in the last few days there's been so much up and down, and it's really kind of extreme, like really up and really down, and just a lot of things happening? What is happening with that, and what's the best way to navigate it? So that's how we're going to look at today's reading. Those are the questions that we'll be going in with. It'll be a general reading. And so, it's really not going to resonate for everybody, and it shouldn't. But if it does resonate with you, then you may want to stick around and subscribe. You may also want to, check out some of the other readings because they're all very much connected. I think actually I'm going to use this as my main deck, and this will be my deck for looking in a little bit deeper. We're going to take a look at initially just kind of the energy that's happening between you, because we do see the up and down quality to it, but kind of what else is happening? What's going on in the energy between the two of you at this time? And at this time doesn't necessarily have to be this day. Like, it could be something that has started a couple days ago. It could be something that is maybe placed a little differently for you on the timeline. We've got the Five of Pentacles. Okay, so there's real bona fide healing going on right now. Watch your dreams. Watch your dreams, write them down. The Sun card, this is excellent. Okay, so this is uncomfortable energy because it feels out of place, but not uncomfortable because it feels wrong. And that's part of the reason that it is so impossible to ignore. And so this is something that both of you are experiencing. Your person is, they're kind of being reminded of memories, but it's coming in a little bit differently. So places where they might have had those memories in the past and felt something that was around the triggering that they experienced, now they have those memories and they think about how it made them feel happy also. So at the time, with them being happy with you, that some of these memories are pretty powerful for them, but with the triggering that has occurred as a result, so that they could get these lessons out there and start to really learn them, it becomes a little bit of a confusing experience. And so the lessons look like, with the Five of Pentacles here in the reverse, looks like it's more lessons around the big three: that fear of rejection, of abandonment, of betrayal. That's progress. This is the energy of progress. So let's look a little bit more deeply into that. But I mean, I guess if you're going to have unstable feeling energy, this is a great reason to have it. So it's progress. It's moving in the right direction. It is not instant progress. So we've got the Six of Wands. Not instant progress. This Six of Wands, I couldn't have said it better than this does. So with the Six of Wands in the upright, it's victory at the end of a long battle. But here with the Six of Wands in the reverse, it's very much still an ongoing battle. This is not one and done. Having this success here is not necessarily going to be... That's not it. That's not the end of it. We've got the Nine of Cups in reverse also. Nine of Cups in reverse, this is really about them recognizing, this is a them card, so you may be having this feeling also, but what I'm feeling is them, they've recognized they're not where they want to be. This is not the happiness that they're looking for. With the Seven of Cups, they also recognize there are options. This is a shared one, very, very shared energy. You recognize that there are options, but both of you are sitting there looking back toward one another. With the Ten of Cups, you've got this feeling of that too good to be true, and even at this much of a distance, it still feels a little too good to be true. So I would just watch out for that. Even if you have the opportunity to have a communication. And I know with some of the readings we've seen here in the recent past, there have been some communications. And I also know that from your notes. Some of you have been receiving some communications as well, and have had a little bit more frequent communications. Communications are changing. That healing may be coming out. Let's see what I dropped here. Okay. So... nothing that wants to be part of the reading, but we do have the Three of Swords, The Four of Wands in reverse. Okay. So, with the messages or the memories coming back up, some of the messages or memories rather, excuse me, some of the memories are generating some sadness once again, and it feels like they're feeling a little distant from that sadness, which this same thing may have been happening to you here recently because we've been seeing it come up in the readings where you have a memory and you don't necessarily react to it as sadly as you might once have. It doesn't have that same impact on you. There's a sense of getting used to kind of it's like getting used to moving in three dimensions instead of just two. It's there's a feeling of things being still a little bit confusing, not having made sense out of all of the options that are out there that are available, not even necessarily having made options or made sense out of the path that you're both going down. But there's a sense of getting more comfortable with kind of with the journey, you know. And I know it's like with all the extra that's been happening here in the journey these last couple of days, it really has been anything but comfortable. However, even with that significant amount of discomfort, I've noticed a lot of grace. So we've got the Two of Wands. Your person is back to utilizing the excuses again. We've seen some shifting in the area in some of these last readings. We've seen some shifting in the area of your person's values, which this isn't new. This is something that started before you. Before they manifested you in, they had been working on adjusting some values, but they wouldn't have put it that way. Basically, they would have said they were wanting to change something about themselves, but they didn't know what, you know. So there are these values that they were raised with that they started to break with. And so at the time that you came in, they were being able to kind of ignore those a little bit, but as time went on and they became a little bit more enamored with you, got kind of, you know, and more involved, and the whirlwind started to happen, that's also when the triggering started to happen and they realized, oh no, I'm back thinking about these values again, only this time they can't seem to let it go. So that's kind of the reason that they have a need to have an excuse. So they've built something as an excuse. It's that age gap. It's some sort of difference between the two of you. It doesn't have to be an age gap. It could be a political difference or a socioeconomic difference or something that's not going to work for somebody, but in most cases, in other cases, people might say, oh, it's fine. So one person might look at like a 5-7 year age difference and say, this is unacceptable to me, and another one might say this is really not a problem. It's that type of situation. So they're hiding behind something as an excuse or realizing something's not going to fly like with their family. Okay, and so this is an uncomfortable energy for sure, but I think we already knew that. I think one of the most important messages that's coming out here is that there is healing that's happening, and it's kind of that healing that's creating some of this instability, but you're getting better at, both of you are getting better at navigating this instability spiritually and even understanding kind of maybe what you do in the situation when you run across something that's too good to be true. That is one of the lessons for both of you in all of this, but also understanding how to navigate some of these options. So let's look into what is actually, like, what is transpiring within the relationship. So if I was going into an extended, I might take what is this healing into the extended as one of the questions, but since it's a soulmate snapshot, we won't do that today. So we've got the Ace of Pentacles in reverse. Let's see. Ace of Pentacles and the Fool. Oh, there's an unmistakable urge to reach out and a complete blockage against doing so. So it's up and down because it is up and down. I mean, it is from moment to moment, it is feeling up and down. The Fool card is all about reaching out, trying something new. This is the card of reaching out today. Sometimes it's a different card. Today, this is definitely the type of jumping into the unknown that reaching out would constitute. The Ace of Pentacles in the reverse, this is the door being closed. This is that blockage against doing so. So this is why they march all the way up to the line, write the entire note out, and then don't hit send. And instead they delete it, you know. But they do it multiple times. You know, it's got this feeling of I can't resist it, and yet I refuse to do it. You know, it's so some of them are going to get through, and those are the ones where you guys are reaching out and saying, "Oh my goodness, this person has contacted me." Um, but you know, this is a situation where you're going to see a lot of people with that urge to do that, and yet a lot of people who are able to resist the urge to do that. That's so we've got the high priestess here in the reverse. High priestess in the reverse, though. Here is an opportunity. So there's a little bit of disconnection with that higher power. There may be it may be a need to meditate or pray a little bit more frequently, and this is probably for both of you. But since you're listening, I want to make sure I say it. This feels more like an opportunity than a weakness. You also have the Two of Pentacles, so this is all about that. We talked about kind of that imbalance over there, and this is kind of that day-to-day imbalance. It's not the Temperance kind of big picture imbalance. It's the day-to-day juggling kind of imbalance. And this is what they will also kind of hide behind and you may get lost in. However, there is something that is kind of a call to action that happens with this healing. So we see it over here with the Five of Pentacles in reverse, and we see it again here with the Five of Pentacles in reverse. Hey, this is happening. The healing means the door is going to start to open. So we've got the Ace of Pentacles in the upright, which is directly opposed to the concept of the Ace of Pentacles here in the reverse. So this is basically saying the door is closed, but the door needs to open. And the door needs to open because of this healing that's taking place here. So it's not, this is a very back and forth place where, you know, that the energy is in the nature of the relationship right now. That's why it seems so back and forth. I mean, I guess it it makes sense. This is not, it's not different from what we've been hearing in the readings. I mean, we know they're very connected. It's just sometimes it's even when you hear it, you say, okay, but why? Why does it have to be so back and forth? And it's really, I think, coming down to the very first card that came out. It's about that healing, and it's echoed back over here. The healing is really what's pushing things forward. Here we have the Temperance card, but this one's in the upright because this is about a hard-won balance, and this is where you guys are headed. However, again, it doesn't happen all at once. There's definitely a sense of things taking a little bit of time, but you know, we've got there's an energy that's happening right about now. It's been happening here lately, especially right around the time of the eclipse, and since then. And really, honestly, if I'm honest, it started before then. But there is just a really there's the strong foundation, and yet everything above the foundation feels like it's kind of all over the place. And it's like you have to learn how to play with a new set of rules. Honestly, that's the type of energy. But the cool thing is, it's like I can't get upset about this with the foundation feeling as strong as it does. And that's kind of what we see here in that Temperance card. So we've got the Six of Cups. Ooh, this is, okay. So this is nostalgia, but it's testing out nostalgia and letting it feel a whole new way. So I mentioned over here, and it was like, it was interesting because the Six of Cups wasn't the card I was looking at, but I was kind of hearkening back to it and feeling it. The Six of Cups has the feeling of that nostalgia and the memories coming up. But like I said over here, the memories aren't coming up exactly the same way as they used to. So the triggering is a little different. We also see that some of the pain is coming up. So there's still very much that sense of working through it. But again, with that Six of Wands, there is that sense of things not being over. So of course, there's still a need to work through it. You guys are in the throes of it. You're in the throes of it. This is like the super intense back and forth of the energy. There's well, that card just wants to jump out and like be face down. Um, there's a lot of a desire to, there's too much energy that needs to get out and not really a clear place for it to go. But there's, okay, so this is hopeful. So this is the King of Cups. King of Cups is the kind of energy that is it has a lot of integrity. Integrity, also charisma. And the charisma, it's a little bit, the charisma itself is a little bit triggering because you realize that you may fall to it. And you don't have as much of a defense against it, but there's something in here about their intentions actually being very positive. So if they do manage to hit send, there's a really strong desire for them to hit send. We've seen that in some of the previous readings. We saw, hey, this is not a great time for you to reach out to them. We saw, but if they reach out to you, consider things, think about things. If your answer is no, I'm done, and it's too late, then your answer is absolutely just no, I'm done, and it's too late, and that's acceptable. But if you're not sure, then this is a time to think about it, and this is kind of more support for that, because this is the integrity piece of the King of Cups that's coming out here for me. But we also have the Death card, which talks about transformation. The focus here is not on what's ending, not on those values that are dying or the results of that. It's more on what grows as a result of it, what comes out now, what's going to be rising like a phoenix, what element of them, of you, is going to be rising like a phoenix as a result of this. It does look like I don't want to say like a better version of themselves. I don't want to be, that sounds, it feels judgy to say that, but it's like they would consider it a better version. You also may consider it a better version, but there will absolutely be a decision to make. This could be a decision for you to make about how to respond when they come back, because that feels a little bit, it just feels a little bit like you are wiser and not necessarily going to make the same decisions or think about things the same way. And you're encouraged to weigh this decision carefully, but that's just it. You don't want to make a rash choice. If this person reaches out to you and you realize, nope, it's been a little too long, I'm not so sure about this, like, take the time to think about it, but don't lash back unless that's truly where the answers are. It doesn't feel like that's the right thing to do. Okay, so we have the Fool here in reverse, or I'm sorry, in the upright. Fool in the upright, but the Emperor in the reverse. This is a matter of trying to control things a little bit, which is, so the Fool is stepping into the unknown, but it's not stepping into the unknown just completely willy-nilly under this energy. There's a strong sense of, I'm not sure with the Moon over here. I'm not sure about the direction that I need to go because the way isn't lit very well. However, I'm going to go ahead and jump in. I trust myself with the Seven of Swords down here. Okay, and that's that. Ooh, good place to stop. We got the Devil card there, but it doesn't feel like it resonates with the reading. So there's the Seven of Swords here, which is talking about kind of, this is their self-trust. This is how they get to you. This is how they are able to hit send. So you've got the yes hit send and the no do not hit send, back and forth over here. You've got a door that's closed that it's time for it to open because of the lessons that they're learning and the way that it's coming through. But we know from these readings, from personal experience, that it's not, you don't just learn a lesson and you flip a switch like a light and all of a sudden, you know how to apply it. You know, there's a bit where you have to kind of learn how to apply it. You know, I did a personal reading the other day where I mentioned something to the effect of, when you go into a country where you don't, you aren't fluent in the language, you speak the language a little bit, but you're not fluent. It takes a little while to get more comfortable with making your responses in that language. Otherwise, at first you kind of feel like, wait, I've learned this. What do I do? So it's the same kind of thing. They've learned the lessons, but they're not quite sure how to apply them smoothly. But there is a lot of confidence moving forward, and they're going to need that kind of confidence to navigate this Moon energy, which is fairly, it's unclear. Things are unclear. But with the Emperor here, this is that one worries me just a little bit, because it feels like they might be kind of trying to push the energy a little bit or force the energy a little bit. Here, I'll have to clear these up. But with the Fool card, that is a strong feeling of them kind of feeling like they're going to hit send. So I don't know. I don't want to get people's hopes up and say expect a communication, but this is the kind of energy where such a thing could happen. Okay. Let's take a look at where you ought to focus, because with all the up and down energy, it can be a little bit tough to understand where to focus. We already saw that it might be beneficial to do a little bit more in the area of meditation. Let's see what else wants to come out. Where else could you be focusing in light of what's on the table and in light of the energy that we're in? Okay, so we've got King of Swords, build a strategy. There's a sense of, you will have a good logical side right now, and it won't be overthinky logical. Oh, and get back to the meditation. All right, so the High Priestess in the reverse got a very similar message to the High Priestess in reverse over here. And it is that concept of go ahead and get in and do that meditation. There's not quite enough of that. It's not happening regularly enough, or it's not going deeply enough, or you want to explore some new ideas. So I know I've mentioned this before recently, but I can never remember if it's in the extended or on YouTube. Back in October, I did a reading for people who weren't quite sure how to meditate, kind of wanted to get started and wanted a little bit of guidance. So it's super general, super broad, and super high level. But I did do one of those back in October. If you are interested, it's in the bonus videos. And then later, over this past summer, people were asking, will you talk about these mantras that you meditate periodically? What, can you tell us what those are? So I got into those. So if you're interested, that's something else that you could potentially use to take you in this direction. Just something that I put out there in case people wanted it as a resource. They are not readings, they're just videos. And then we've got the King of Swords. So you've got the here, hop in there and do some thinking, do some meditating. And this is actually the thinking side. So you've got thinking, you've got meditation and release, you've got, this is really about honoring your ability at this point to use this kind of energy, because this energy is, everyone uses it a little bit differently. So be careful about a tendency to feel like you've already got things covered. Knowing the language does not mean you're going to walk into the country and just be able to use it easily. There is still a matter of unlocking it within yourself so that you know how to respond, and it becomes something that you feel instead of just something that you think and translate and say. So this King of Wands is, I assumed I could, I assumed I would be able to do that, it's not probably wise to make the assumption that you're going to be able to jump into every presentation and just be able to ace it, or every situation and just be able to handle it. There's power in preparation as well. Just keep that in mind. Then we've got the Tower card here in reverse. This is the thing. There's something in you that needs to be changed or needs to be addressed, but for some reason you're choosing not to do it. So look into it a little bit more deeply. We're getting another card here that says not to reach out to this person right now. Again, same as before. If they reach out to you and there's a strong desire in them to do so, and if they do reach out to you, you can accept them. Don't make any rash decisions. Don't like kick them out of the conversation or reblock, or just out of hand. Listen to what they're saying. There does appear to be some change here, but by the same token, there is some change in you that looks like it needs to happen, and it's not necessarily coming to pass. You may have to work a little bit harder on it. Expect there to be a little bit of anxiety in this transit. So this meditation could be super useful, because that's one of the ways that you can start to dispel some of the anxiety. And then we've got the Wheel of Fortune that's coming out in the reverse. Wheel of Fortune in the reverse is about hanging out in uncomfortable times. It's this kind of energy, and it has you hanging out in uncomfortable times and just kind of finding comfort in a place that offers little comfort. That's really kind of what wants to come out with that. All right, so we've got the Four of Cups. You will find yourself disappointed about something that you remember about yourself. This is not remembering something about somebody else. This is something about you that you find disappointing. Work through it when that happens. Work through it, because this is a really good time to work through it. It's something that maybe under normal circumstances you might run across that thought, that memory, and just kind of be very resistant to doing much with it. This is a good time to do something with it. And similarly, it's a good time to look into feelings of inadequacy, feelings of, just wait for them to pop up. You don't have to go look for this. This is something that, like, you'll hear the negative self-talk. Also, be aware that self-talk can come in many, many forms. So it's not just going to be you looking in the mirror and not liking what you see and having some sort of response to that. There could be, it can come in many more insidious forms. Make sure that you're treating yourself well, because there's the necessity for you to reevaluate the way that energy is being passed between you and other people. With the Six of Pentacles here, and with it showing up in the reverse, it's just about evaluating it for me. That's really what's coming off of that card. It's about evaluating it. Oop, I dropped something, but nothing we're going to use. Um, it's about evaluating and just making sure that that energetic give and take is where you want it to be with the people that are in your life. It's not just with this person, it's really with everybody that's in your life. Ooh, we have a sideways page of wands. So, okay, this is fighting depression, staying away from depression. Go into this meditation. That's going to be your best bet with regard to that. Ace of Wands, that feeling of not necessarily, you may give in to this. This is the feeling of simply wanting to sit down and not do a bunch of stuff. If you can get away with it, this may not be a bad plan, actually. Just don't let it sink into the depression. Make sure that if you're going to sit around and do nothing, that you're meditating periodically, praying periodically. You also have the Eight of Pentacles here. So this is really a time of being able to get, this is an opportunity to get deeply into yourself and say, where are the pieces that are coming up that I'm not as pleased with, that disappoint me, that maybe make me feel like I don't have that emotional self-mastery to be able to navigate everything confidently. This is the day to do that sewing pile. This is absolutely the day to mend old energies within yourself, or this is the energy in which you would do it. So it's uncomfortable, to be sure, but you will have incredible progress. Um, yeah, I'm just going to wrap it up here. So basically, it's a challenging energy between the two of you. There is a lot of learning going on, creating some additional challenges. You may well hear from this person. They've got a lot of desire to reach out and also this refusal, but the refusal feels like it's being turned upside down. So you may find some of them falling to that. Once again, though, not coming to you healed, but not coming to you the same. And then with you, it's focusing on you, focusing on the pieces that don't feel quite right, that are the most uncomfortable pieces to focus on. Lean into it. This is where you've got a change that's coming to you, but for some reason, probably because it's uncomfortable, you're not exactly leaning into it with everything you've got. This is a recommendation to go ahead and lean into that, and that it will be worthwhile. So that gets a little bit deep. I'm going to go ahead and wrap up this soulmate snapshot right here. Since it is a soulmate snapshot, it does not have an extended. But we'll go back to a normal reading tomorrow, and then remember that we've got the live stream on Friday. So you guys have been sending in questions. I'm kind of composing a reading now, but you'll be able to ask questions online during the course of that as well. So looking forward to that. All right. I will see you again tomorrow.